welcome back to another Airbnb clean. I just had guests check out just a few minutes ago. They checked out right on time. So they stayed for 5 nights and I got paid $1,038 from the booking. These guests actually have stayed with us twice before, so this is their 3rd time staying with us, which is really cool. I love having repeat guests. But let's get started cleaning and I'll catch you guys up on what's been happening. I don't actually have new guests checking in today. I blocked the Airbnb off for just the night. I do have new guests checking in tomorrow. So that just buys me a little bit of extra time to catch up on any projects I have to do here. These guests left it super clean, just like last time. Grateful for that. They did use the 10% discount that I offered a guest if they ever want to stay with us again. And I do get repeat bookings that way. The thing with the Airbnb being in the busy season right now is all my bookings are like back to back. I have guests checking in and out on the same day for almost all of my bookings for like a 2-month period. So if I ever have a day like today where I can block it off for the night, sometimes I will do that. So it gives me a chance to catch up on anything that I might need to. Usually that's like maintenance related things, if something needs to be fixed or whatever it may be. Knock on wood, the Airbnb is actually in great shape. This one is. My other Airbnb, I do feel like I'm falling a little bit behind on some stuff there though. The last guest that checked out of my other Airbnb actually did not leave it very clean at all. In fact, they left it the messiest that anybody's left it in kind of a long time. And that clean took me the full 6 hours in between guests checking in and out, like nonstop. I was frantic. I was worried I wasn't actually going to get it done in time. I got done like 20 minutes before the next guest checked out. Checked in. You never know how guests are gonna leave it, and I just don't want to bank on having time to do extra things like maintenance type things in that 6-hour window because you're not guaranteed that. I did actually end up giving those guests a 4-star for cleanliness, and I gave them a 5 on everything else in their review. I can't really even remember the last time I gave less than 5 stars. Usually, even if guests leave it like kind of dirty, I'll still give them 5 stars because it's like, it's not that deep. You know what I mean? But these guests, it was like next level. It literally took me double the amount of time to clean. So I was like, I just can't give them a 5. That's not really fair to the next host. The way that Airbnb reviews work is those guests won't be able to see that I left them a 4 for cleanliness until either they've reviewed me or 2 weeks have passed and then they can't review me at all. That way it kind of prevents people from leaving you a bad review just because you left them one, if that makes sense. Anyway, the new guests that are in there right now messaged us to say that the shower caddy, that like wire shelf I have hanging in all of the showers that holds the shampoo and stuff, broke. Which I guarantee is from those guests because they also broke the fridge handle. I just didn't notice it. The shower caddy was broken when I was cleaning. So we told him like, thanks for letting us know, essentially. Sometimes it's really hard with guests. He seems annoyed from the way he's messaging. It's hard to know if like that's just his tone messaging anybody or if he actually is annoyed. So I'm definitely overthinking it, but it's also like, I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? I found this thing sitting on the thermostat. I'm actually gonna turn it down in here because it's at 76 and it's kind of hot. I don't know what this is. It has like the temperature and what I'm assuming is the humidity. I don't really know why they have that. Oh, the other reason that I blocked this off for a day is because Alex and I are leaving town for just under 2 weeks. And I just wanted to make sure that everything was as ready as I could make it. I have a few projects related to that. There's like a little checklist I have mentally of things I do before I travel. Alex and I are traveling to Vermont, New Hampshire, and I'm also going to Maine. I'm from Vermont, if you didn't know. So I go back every summer. We go camping with my family, and my parents also live in Vermont half the year and they live in Georgia the other half of the year. They've been building a tiny house in Vermont. So we're going camping. We're also going up there to help them with the tiny house. We're working on putting the roof on. And then I'm going to Maine for just the weekend for my best friend's bachelorette party. She's getting married. Yeah, I'm excited for the trip. I will say I'm always very nervous to leave the Airbnbs. I'm a control freak and I don't know, I'm a worrier. If you guys watch me, you'll know that by now. It's just hard for me to let go of control, knowing like if something truly happens, like there's not much I can do when I'm not here and I just have to rely on my cleaner, which I am very fortunate that I have found a cleaner that I trust after trialing so many cleaners that didn't work out. But it's more so the worry of like, what if something breaks? What if something major happens when we're gone? It just seems like whenever I'm out of town, that's when like the TV wants to break or things that don't normally happen when we are here. I don't know. I would love the Airbnbs to get to the point where I could just block them off and not have any bookings when we're traveling, so I don't have to worry about them. But you guys are well aware of my finances here. I share it every month. We're not at that position yet, but eventually I would like to do that. Whenever I'm asked if I would recommend being an Airbnb host, usually my first thing is like, are you gonna live near your Airbnb? Who's gonna do all the work? That's what it comes down to. And what's your personality like? My personality, I could never run an Airbnb and not be the one managing it, living nearby. I would rather just have it be a long-term rental at that point. Alex, on the other hand, is a lot more chill. I'm like the most anxious overthinker. He's like the most not anxious, not overthinker. I think too much about what could go wrong. Sometimes he doesn't think enough about what could go wrong. So we balance each other out. He would probably do Airbnb even if he didn't live here and just hire cleaners and whatever. I would never. One thing I have to do a little bit differently when I know that I'm traveling and I won't be the one here cleaning next, it will be the cleaners, is I have to do all of the laundry. Usually I do some of the laundry when I'm cleaning, but I have a backup set so that I can wash the rest at home. But in order for the cleaners to have the backup set when I'm traveling, it all needs to be washed while I'm cleaning. All right, I already wiped the mirror down. One thing that has made traveling a little bit easier for me in terms of trusting the cleaners is I request to be the first clean of the day, which is something I learned quite quickly into my Airbnb journey with hiring cleaners, is I had 2 separate cleaners not finish on time. As in, my check-in time is 4 p.m. They were still here cleaning at 4 p.m. and I was like elsewhere in another state or wherever I was. So stressed out. They showed up, like, I remember one of them showed up at like 2 o'clock or something, and I was like, how is she gonna clean everything in 2 hours? Like, that's just not enough time to do a good job of cleaning. I'm sorry. And so the whole 2 hours, I was so stressed, like checking the doorbell camera, like, is she still there? Is she still there? Like, is she gonna be done in time? She wasn't. Like I said, that's happened to me with 2 different cleaners. So lesson learned. Now I request like to be the first clean of the day. I'm up front. Like, I've tried so many different cleaners at this point. Like I said, I like the one I have now, but it's taken me a lot of cleaners to find her. And all of them, I've now said, I need to be the first clean of the day, or like this just isn't gonna work out. No hard feelings. This cleaner has upheld that, so grateful for her. She also has a team. That's something that is kind of different. I used to just hire independent cleaners. Didn't really like the idea of like multiple people coming in and out, or like how would they know exactly what I want if it's someone different every time? But I've just found that they're more reliable. I knew I actually had an extra shower shelf thing here, so I can take this to my other Airbnb where the one broke that the guest told me about. One thing I always do before I travel is make sure that my cleaning and supply closet is like fully stocked for anything that the cleaners could possibly need during the time I'm away. I always have a ton of toilet paper, paper towels, my coffee supplies, the sponges that I leave for each guest, backup shower curtain liners, tons of trash bags, just like all of the things. I try to make sure that there's more than enough. I did recently purchase 2 new bath mats. They were pink, but I feel like the pink isn't holding up super well. So I went with the light gray instead this time. Other thing that I like to do is double check how the battery life is doing on our lock. They always like to die when we travel. I actually don't have the app for this. Alex is the one who does everything with our locks. He's the one who makes the code for every guest that checks in. So I just texted him, can you tell me the level of the battery life left on the lock? If it's anything less than 50%, I'm just gonna replace them anyway. Another thing I do, sorry it's loud over by the washer and dryer, I just make sure that the extra batteries that I leave out for guests, that this is full. Sometimes the batteries in the remotes die. I've had the lock on the door die recently, even though the batteries were full. Alex told me I should just go ahead and change the batteries, so that's what I'm gonna do. Now I just wanna make sure, triple check that it works. Success. You watched my last video, the one where it was like a week in my life as an Airbnb host. I was talking about, more like complaining about how I had to have that tree cut down at my long-term rental. It hasn't been cut down still. It's getting cut down when we're in Vermont. I got some comments on that video where I mentioned like that I bought my tenant a new garden hose, and some people were like, I would never expect my landlord to buy that. And I don't think she expects us to. Like I said in the video, I like my tenant and I want her to stay. So I try to do little things like that where it's like, I know I don't have to buy a new garden hose. It's a small gesture to show like I'm a good landlord. You know what I mean? We did actually have to go back over there again this week. I swear I'm there so much, but it was because the fan in one of the bedrooms broke, the ceiling fan. Anyway, we had to go over to replace the fan. Oh, the other thing I also wanted to say is tomorrow we have guests checking in here. Alex and I will be flying. In the past, what we've done is we've just straight up told the guest like, hey, we're gonna be on a flight from this time to this time. Like we may be difficult to reach. And we give them a second backup code to the door so that if for whatever reason their code doesn't work, because that has happened to us a handful of times, they have a secondary code and don't necessarily need to get a hold of us. Okay, one of the next things that I do when I'm gonna be gone for a while is I always make sure to refill the shampoo, conditioner, body wash. I used to do this between every single guest and then I was like, why am I doing that? So now I do it every so often. I actually recently asked you guys, it's silly of me to even have these refillable things at all. Like maybe I should just be leaving these containers out for guests. It's like, why am I doing this? It's such a waste of time. At least with these, guests will know like what's in them. Otherwise, this is kind of a mystery. I'm not actually done with the clean yet, but I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. So I'm gonna leave it at that. As always, if you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments below. Bye.